Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fara Hani binti Amran. Today, me and my team members Alia Amiera binti Khamis and Nurul Syafiqah binti Ahmad Nizam will present our FYP titled Solving Sudoku Game Using Graph Coloring. Our project is under the supervision of PM Norsaadah binti Awang alias Amin. First of all, for the introductions of Sudoku. Sudoku is a logic-based number placement puzzle that consists of grid. Sudoku is popular games that played by people all over the world. Sudoku games can be found in many variants, but the most standard versions of Sudoku is 9 by 9 grids. There are also several ways to solve Sudoku such as backtracking, constraint programming, logic deduction, and many other ways. Sudoku could be solved as a graph coloring problem by where the square of the grid was denoted as vertex and each of the number in the Sudoku was represented by a different color. The problem statement for this project is we can find that Sudoku can be very difficult to solve and take longer time to solve, especially the 9 by 9 type of Sudoku. To solve the Sudoku, a combination of practice, trial and error must be used. Because of that, method of graph coloring are very essential tools in this study. The aim for this study is to fill empty cells using number 1 until 9 so that these numbers will use precisely once in each of the 9 rows, 9 columns and each of the 3 by 3 subscript. The objective of these studies are to solve a game of Sudoku with strategies that are mainly based on graph coloring algorithm and to create a program in solving Sudoku as graph coloring problem by using software Python.
Let's move on to the significance and benefit of the project. The technique used to solve the Sudoku in this analysis is graph coloring. Graph coloring is considered the special case of a graph labeling where it is known as the application of marks that are traditionally known as colors to a graph element subject to these constraints. The benefit is, first, helps to reduce time taken to solve the hard puzzle and also simple Sudoku. Second, solve the Sudoku level of easy, medium and also difficult level. And lastly, increase the accuracy of the Sudoku puzzle. As for the scope and limitation of the project, this study focused on generating Sudoku puzzles with different difficulty levels and thus solve the Sudoku using graph coloring. Besides, in this study also, we have been focused on developing a written code for Sudoku as a graph coloring problem using a Python programming. Graph coloring in solving Sudoku will have a different color based on the grid where there is no two adjacent vertices in same row, column and subgrids have the same color. Python's application's performance and speed is slower than the other modern programming language such as Java and C++.
Chapter 2, Literature Review and Background Theory. For the first literature review is Sudoku game. The Sudoku game is a game that consists of number and grid where there is no repetition in row, column and also subgrid. The Sudoku grid is a special kind of lattice grid that is named by an ex-18th century mathematician, which is John Euler. In the past, Sudoku can only be found in hard copy, where it required people to use pen or pencil to solve it, and at that time, the number of Sudoku is limited. But nowadays, Sudoku can be found in many variants. It can be found in different grid size and also different region shape. For example, in 2010, a 100 by 100 grid of Sudoku, dubbed as Sudoku Silap, was published. The number of possible Sudoku puzzle without clue given is approximately 6.671 times by 1021 was generated by using was proof. The number of possible Sudoku puzzle without clue given is approximately 6.671 times with 1021 was proved by writing a computer program. Next is graph coloring. Graph coloring is a special case of graph labeling in a graph theory. Graph coloring can be used in a variety of real-time applications such as student timetabling, Sudoku and also GCM for network. There is a few articles that are writing regarding graph coloring method. For example, in 1949, written by Zaki. The article tell about developing specific exponential time algorithm based on backtracking recurrence of deletion contraction. In 2003, Marx reviewed several variants of graph coloring and talked about the application in scheduling. It also discussed about frequency assignment for graph coloring. In 2011, Hussein Basri Asmai Osman talked about graph coloring as one of the widest approach to solve the timetable problem. In 2018, Asi, Halabi and Harari examined the genetic algorithm approach for graph coloring correlate with the timetable issue in their paper. In 2019, Kanguli and Roy discussed about implementation of graph coloring on numerous datasets of any education organization where different kinds of constants are appeared in their paper.
Python programming was invented by Guido van Rossum in 1991. It is a complex programming language of high quality, interpreted and general purpose. It is used for web development, software development, and also system scripting. Python 2.0 was released in 2000 and Python 3.0 introduced in 2008. The other method to solve Sudoku problems. Reynolds in 1994 claimed that cultural genetic algorithm is an advanced method for balancing the genetic and cultural effect of humans. CGA is an acceptable candidate for solving a Sudoku, since it shuts out the algorithm from producing an individual who explicitly violates the space of belief.
Now let's move on to the Chapter 3 methodology. First is Phase 1 data acquisition. The principle of this game is to some extent similar to the simple magic squares, which is sum of the values in line, column and diagonal are same, which arose as early as about 1000 BC. The sample of Sudoku can get through website that will be solved using graph coloring method. The figure above shows the Sudoku puzzle samples with 4 levels, which is easy, medium, hard and expert. Moving on the second phase, this graphical coloring algorithm describes the way a person thinks normally while solving Sudoku. Algorithm for graph coloring, which is M coloring decision problem, has 6 steps, which is available in the figure above. We show you an example for 4x4 Sudoku puzzle samples, and this is the results where we get by using graph coloring algorithm.
For phase 3 is the implementing of graph coloring method by using Python programming. In this phase, we are creating 3 files named as Sudoku construct, Sudoku connection, and Sudoku file. There are 3 steps that we use to write the coding. First step is to create a class node and class graph. The Sudoku file named as Sudoku construct is created to create the class node and class graph. Class node and class graph is used to generate the node from the grid and to create a graph to connect them. For step 2 is to initialize all the nodes and the graph. In this step, we are creating a Sudoku connections. In the Sudoku connection files, all the nodes are being linked to create a graph of the Sudoku. For the step 3 is to combine all of other 2 files to the main Sudoku file, which is Sudoku. In this file, we are implementing the graph coloring algorithm as Intel in the phase 2. For the result, there are 4 levels of Sudoku that we are testing, which are easy, medium, hard, and expert. The level of Sudoku is different based on the number of clues given. For each of the level of Sudoku, we are able to obtain the result of Sudoku by implementing the graph coloring method into Python programming. This is the result of the easy level of Sudoku. This is the result of medium level of Sudoku. Next, this is the result of hard level of Sudoku. Lastly, this is the result of the expert level of Sudoku. For the expert level of Sudoku, it has the least number of clues given for each of the 9x9 number. However, the coding of graph coloring method using Python programming are able to generate the output of the expert level of Sudoku. It is shown as the output of the expert level of Sudoku is the same as the solution from the website. Hence, we can conclude that for the 4 level of Sudoku, the coding of graph coloring method are able to solve the 4 level of Sudoku.
In the Python programming, we denote the number as nodes and the link between the number is denoted as edges. Each of the edges and nodes are being assigned by different color. For every assigned color, the function will check if the adjacent nodes do not have the same color. It will recursively call the functions of the next nodes. If any recursive functions returns true, then the vertex will be assigned the color, but if not, it will proceed with the next nodes. Now, as we can see, there are 2 figures that shows the input of 4x4 grid and the output error for 4x4 grid. The output error shows the error for the initial Sudoku, as the right-hand code are detecting 9 rows and 9 columns to solve the Sudoku. Hence, the output of before solving and after solving cannot detect the input, as the right-hand code are solely function for Sudoku 9x9 grid. As for the validations, we can validate that the right-hand code of Python programming for Sudoku by using method of graph coloring are only valid for 9x9 grid. Then, the output of Sudoku board, there is no repetitions of digit 1 until 9 in each row, each column, and each of the subgrid, which satisfy the rule of Sudoku. And as we can see, the figure shows that the easy level answers is validated as true. And these 2 figures shows that the answer for medium Sudoku is validated as true and the answer for hard Sudoku is validated as true. for the expert answers of Sudoku is also validated as true. The full part of level above shows the solution for all levels of Sudoku as we get in the result. In this part, the solution of Sudoku is being validated to know whether the solution is a valid answer or invalid answer.
In a nutshell, our research has achieved the objectives that we aim for. Firstly, we get to solve a game of Sudoku with the strategies that are primarily based on graph coloring algorithm that stated in phase 2 of methodology. Secondly, we succeed to create a program to solving a Sudoku by using Python programming as we get in the result of table 3. Other than graph coloring, Sudoku can be solved by several methods. As for recommendations, Sudoku can be solved using a backtracking technique. Some advantage of these methods are backtracking, a result is guaranteed, and the algorithm is simpler than the other algorithms. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.